Hey there, welcome back to Avian Games. This is your favorite of the two. This is Chris. No Jack today. You don't have to worry, he's not coming. You can stay for the whole thing. Today we're doing fossils. We're doing pure fossils. I tried playing it with Adamancipator, didn't really like it. Tried doing some Kawaki Mirror stuff, didn't really like it. So we're just going pure today. I think this is the most fun way to play this deck. There definitely is some leeway in this build, so if you like it, if you like what you see, but you might want to change some things, I definitely think this is a deck that is very open to having its build played around with, But let's just hop right into it. There are some things I will explain at the end of the main deck, so I'm just going to blast over everything, and we'll talk about it at the end. We've got one Gaia Plate, the Earth Giant, triple Godarla, triple Gamma Seal, triple Weathering Soldier. We've got one Tackle Crusader, one Rock Band Xeno Guitar, and one Revival Golem. These four right here, we'll talk about at the end. They're kind of little tech cards. We've got one Shell Knight, triple Math, double Ash Blossom, double Nemesis Keystone. That's it for the monsters here. For spells and traps, we've got one Change of Heart, one Foolish Burial, triple Fossil Fusion. Please just keep this at 3. I tried running it less than 3, and maybe that was just my own stupid idea, but it's very easy to search this card in this deck, but your hands are just so much nicer when you have Fossil Fusion already. So just keep it at 3. Triple Miracle Rupture, one Monster Reborn, 2 Time Stream, triple Trade-In, 1 Upstart, double Magnet Reverse, and then 2 Rock Bombardment. Let's talk about this main deck real quick. The one Gaia Plate, the Earth Giant, you're able to add it to your hand or special summon it off of your Shell Knight effect. This is super important because, for one, it's kind of the only main deck level 8 monster, level 8 rock monster that seemed good enough to run. It halves the attack and defense of any monster it battles, so you're technically able to punch over anything that's 5,500 or under, and you can crash into something that's 56. So it's very nice to have, and if you add it to hand, it's also a trade-in target in case you don't draw a Kaiju, or you want to actually use your Kaiju. So that's what the Gaia Plate is for. The Tackle Crusader is a Book of Moon when it's sent to grave, and it compulses a face-up spell or trap that your opponent controls, and then they can't activate a card with the same name during the turn that you compulse it. So it's really nice if you can combo it off with the Rock Bombardment. But it's also really nice because it's a graveyard spell and trap removal. And a lot of times this is just easier to do than if you were to use like Nightmare Phoenix. But I still run the Phoenix in the main deck because I am, or the extra deck because I am petrified of spells and traps. But, yep, that's what Tackle Crusader's for. Xeno Guitar is kind of a way for you to recycle some of your rocks that are in grave and put them back into the deck. And it also is another way for you to send a rock monster from deck to grave if it's banished, which you will do with your Fossil Fusion. So that's a way to kind of, do other plays. And then your Revival Golem is just an extender. If you need a monster on board, you've got Revival Golem to help you out. Anything else you should talk about? Nemesis Keystone. You can run it at 3 if you wanted to maybe take out like an Ash Blossom. I was running it at 3 for a while, but I ended up cutting it to 2. It just felt a little better at 2. And you are able to basically get it whenever you want, as long as you have Fossil Fusion and a way to get it into grave. Miracle Rupture, Mathematician, Foolish Burial, whatever. Xeno Guitar. As long as you can get it into grave, you'll be able to banish it with Fossil Fusion, and then you'll get it during your end phase. And then this also will help you recycle any cards that you need. So definitely at least run it at 2, I would say. And the double Magnet Reverse, again, you could run this at 3. I was running it at 3. Same problem with the Keystone. It was just too cloggy in opening hands sometimes. So I cut it to 2, but this does let you get any one of your fusions out once they're in grave or banished. So very nice, and you're also able to do it on your opponent's turn, and if you have it set, during your own battle phase, or you could activate it just during your battle phase in general. and kind of sneak away with an OTK. So you could debate running that at 3, but I'm keeping it at 2. And Rock Bombardment, you also could swap this out with, I think it's called like Catapult Zone or something like that. It's a field spell, and it basically does the same thing. It doesn't inflict damage, but it's anytime a rock monster be destroyed by battle, you can send one instead. I like the Rock Bombardment a bit more. It's a little more interactive with your opponent, I think. So that's why I'm running that at 2. For the extra deck here, we've got 1 Fossil Dragon Skull Gaios, 1 Skull King, 1 Skull Convoy, 1 Skull Knight, 1 Skull Wagon, 1 Skull Gar, and 1 Skull Bone. I am skipping one. I think it's called Skull Buggy. It's a 1400 attack monster, and it isn't good. So I don't recommend running it. In terms of, viability here, these 3 are your best ones: Skull Gaios, Skull King, and Skull Convoy. Convoy kind of reduces all your opponent's monsters' attack, and it can attack 3 times on monsters, and each time it kills one, it deals 1,000, so very nice card. I make this a lot when I don't know what my opponent is going to do, because it just makes their monsters useless in terms of battle, usually. Skull King can attack twice during the battle phase, and it doesn't have to be on monsters, and it also, you can discard a card and special summon a monster from your opponent's graveyard. That will matter in some of the replays that you're going to see later. And Skull Gaios, if it deals battle damage, it does double battle damage, and it also does piercing, and it can swap the attack and defense of anything it battles. So this is a really nice OTK card. If you get it out, you probably win, honestly. But it does require a level 7 or higher monster in your opponent's graveyard, so it's not the easiest thing to make, but with things like DPE existing and Dragoon and stuff, it's pretty easy to do. So onto the non-fusions, we got 1 Bagooska, 1 Abyss Dweller, 1 Dugaris, 1 Saryuja, 1 Phoenix, 1 Track Black, 1 Cross Sheep, and 1 Link Karibo. So, yeah, let's hop into a replay and see how the deck works. Okay, here is our first replay to show off here. This is Fossils versus Dinomorphia. Dinomorphia is a pretty cool deck, but I will say it kind of like auto-loses to Fossil because it, just the way that the math works on the deck, you, like, almost always win. Like that right there. 1 piercing attack and you win. So, they make the attack of your monsters equal to their life points, but you deal piercing. So you always end up killing on Dinomorphia. But there's a profile. There's a duel right there. So, yeah. Okay, and we're back with our second one, since that first replay was literally like 10 seconds long. This is Fossil versus Gravekeepers. This kind of seemed like an auto loss when I first started playing, but I decided to keep it going, and I'm glad I did. So the Necro Valley is obviously a huge problem for us. We can't really use Fossil Fusion when we have that on field. And the Supernaturalist makes it a little hard to deal with. But as long as we have Tackle Crusader, we are okay. So we get rid of it on their turn, the Necro Valley. They're not able to activate it again. Now we kind of have free reign here. We're able to set ourselves up. Do notice they are playing Exodia pieces in this deck. Playing like Gravekeeper Exodia. I actually played this live with Jack, and he had played this dude like half an hour prior. So he was like, "Oh, I think that guy might be dropping Exodia pieces on you." But yeah. So he flipped my Skull Convoy with his Swords of Concealing Light. But as soon as he attacked it with the Gravekeeper's Recruiter, it immediately reduced his attack, so now he's stuck at 300. And honestly, I'm kind of screwed here at this point. And he only has 300 life left. I set one. I'm really just hoping for a card, and I get a Rock Bombardment, which deals 500. So we won off the Rock Bombardment burn, which was lovely. And, yeah, so that's an example of when the deck can brick a little bit, but we're also playing Gravekeepers, so, you know, what are you going to do? Okay, so we are back. This is Fossil versus Earth Machine. I did turn the replay speed down a little bit for this one. It does get a little fast. This is a very interesting replay here, especially considering that Citadel triggers Engrave. But we're going to start with the Miracle Rupture here. We're grabbing the Gaia Plate so we have a trade-in target. And then they go for the Urgent Schedule here. This really doesn't matter. And we banished his Citadel with the Fossil Fusion. So he ended up bringing it, or getting it out of the banish with the Overdrive there. But we're going to attack over everything. We are waiting here, and then we're going to trigger the Skulking effect to take the Citadel. We don't want them to get the Citadel up on their side of the field because they're going to kill my own Skulking with it. So I waited for as long as I felt comfortable. And then I grabbed the Citadel to pop their whole field here. So that'll trigger off everything. He does get to search off Switchyard here, but he can't really do much. We will Rock Bombardment, grab the Miracle Rupture. That'll get us a draw 1. And now we attack for game with the double piercing on the Skull Gaios. Okay, so we're back at the deck screen here. That's pretty much a deck. It is a very nice OTK deck. Or it's not even so much an OTK deck. It definitely can OTK. But it kind of is just like a really aggressive deck that's kind of sticky to deal with, you know? I think it has a lot of fun ways to get past things. I think Tackle Crusader is an awesome card. I have a second build of this deck that I have been toying with where I'm running 2 Tackle Crusader, but I think 1 is the move. The Rock Bombardment is very fun. It actually came up in the replays. Obviously, we got that win against the Gravekeepers with the burn, but it's very fun to trigger off some of your rock effects on your opponent's turn, like bouncing a card, bookabooning a card. Even the Revival Golem, I've had plays where I've done the Rock Bombardment and then just used this as a wall, and the 2100 was enough for me to survive the turn. So, it's a very fun deck. I definitely recommend playing it. I definitely recommend trying it out and also changing the deck. I would love to see some comments of people who have tried other things. Like I said, I'm more interested in playing it pure, but Adamancipator is wicked fun with it, and Kawaki Meru is pretty good with it as well. So if you try the deck out, let me know. Very fun, definitely worthwhile, pretty cheap too if you want to build it. And yeah, have a good one. See ya.